So what we're going to talk about today is planning. So anytime we start doing marketing, we want to make sure that we're taking some time to actually plan what kind of marketing we're doing, right? So instead of throwing money at something and saying, boy, I hope this works, really putting some thought behind, here's what we're doing, and planning it. The way I like to think about it, it's kind of like making your roadmap for a trip, right? You know what your destination is, you know where you're going, and then you got to make the plan for how to get there. And so, I mean, that's really what it is. So, what should you include? Destination, which is going to be really what do I aim to get out of this? Okay, the route, which is the how am I going to get there, and then your budget. So obviously that's a part of what you need to look. If I want to go to Europe and I want to fly first class, but I only have $100 to do it on, probably not going to happen, right? So understanding your budget is very good. So the first piece is really looking at your destination. So when we talk about destination in terms of marketing planning, what we're looking at is what is the goal of marketing. And most business owners that I talk to say their goal in marketing is to generate more business, right? Which in the end is really the case. But in marketing itself, there's several ways to do that. There's direct business generation and there's indirect business generation. And so understanding what the particular goal of this marketing channel is, or the specific marketing channel, will help you determine effectiveness. And so when you look at it, when you look at your sales funnel, there's generating the buzz, which is people talking about your business, referring your business, that kind of thing. That can be one goal behind marketing. That's oftentimes one of the major goals behind social marketing. Okay. The next one would be generating leads. So that's pretty obvious, right? People who want to come and do business with your business. And then the final one is generating sales. So that would be in the internet realm, people who are selling product directly online. So either through Facebook or on their website or that kind of thing. Okay, and so those are really kind of the three areas. Understanding which one of these you're going after helps you determine, helps you get an idea of what you're going to look at to see, am I being successful in doing this? So if your goal is to generate buzz, what you'd be looking at is, when I post something to Facebook, are people liking it? Are people sharing it? Are they commenting on it? If your goal is to generate leads, are they filling out a form? Are they giving me a call? And obviously if it's generate sales, is my website producing revenue? And so those are the things that you need to look at. So once you get past your destination, the next thing you need to look at is your route. And so this is the medium through which you're going to market. And in the internet realm, what we talk about here most of the time is social stuff. And so we're going to focus mostly on that, and there's a couple other things. So from the social perspective, obviously there's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, there's blogging, there's websites directly. Websites themselves can be social, but they don't necessarily have to be. Okay, so like Facebook is a website, but it's a social website, right? Websites that you can build can have social elements to them where people can interact with your website either by going to a social network like Facebook or by interacting directly on your website. So like Kathy, one of the things that she could do with her website would be to put up a photo gallery that people can comment on. Or there's actually some things that I just learned about. It's called gamification, where she could put a like a little applet on her website, and people could make a cup of coffee on her website, which would increase the stickiness. And if people liked it, they would then talk about her website and point more people there, which would then increase business in the store likely. So those are things that you can do. Additional routes of marketing would include pay-per-click marketing and also email marketing. So when you look at those two pieces, email marketing is really kind of another social aspect. So it can be direct sales by email. It can be event promotion. So like for the canoe rental, very possibly event promotion. It could also be product promotion. You can sell directly through email marketing. So there's a lot of things in email itself that you can do. Email marketing is relatively inexpensive to do, so it's still a very popular thing, and it still has a very good rate of return. The pay-per-click marketing, this isn't really a social piece. Well, it's becoming more social with some of the changes to the search engines. Search engines are starting to include what we call social signals in how they rank websites and how things display on them. So, have you heard of Google Plus? Okay, so like Google Plus is now when people plus one a site or plus one an ad or things like that, it starts adjusting where that ad or where that site ranks in Google. And so it also changes what people see based on who my connections are and what they've liked, And so um, even with pay-per-click marketing, you're starting to see social aspects to that. But what pay-per-click marketing does is it takes any of these parts here, so your social platforms or your website, it gets it in front of people immediately, right? So the natural progression to organic traffic is exponentially increasing if you do it right. So it starts off very slow, it increases very slow, and then over time it starts slowly ramping up until it hits that exponential curve. And that's really part of the goal of it, but that means it takes time to do that. Most people don't like to wait for that time. And so to start generating business now, a lot of people go to the pay-per-click marketing, drum up that business to fund the organic development of things. So that's what you do. Understanding what route you want to take is really determined by who you're trying to reach, right? So if your primary target is like moms and kids, then you might even want to look at something called Pinterest, which is really big among women right now, which is a new social network. It's just ranked into the top 10 social networks across the web. But basically what it is it's a site where people share photos of things, either photos that they've taken of things that they're doing or photos they've pulled off of blogs or things of that nature. Pinterest, Pinterest. Yep. And I can show you that here in a second. But really looking at your target market is what's going to help you determine what the most effective route you're going to take to reach your target market is. Okay, so I work with a lot of businesses who say LinkedIn is going to be the way I want to go. And I look at it and we start digging into, well, who are you really trying to reach? Well, the decision makers are the ones that are ultimately going to be, so CEOs, CFOs of medium-sized businesses. But that's not oftentimes who's going to find them first. Who's going to find them first? Gatekeepers, spouses, children, those kind of folks. And so even though the business model may seem to be more aimed toward something like LinkedIn, Facebook might actually be a more effective means to pulling in the traffic that they need. So really taking an analysis of how the sales process works for a particular business model determines what route you take in social marketing and other types of marketing. Once you have your route in place, obviously your budget is the next thing that you have to look at, right? And so in the budget, there's really two aspects. There's your time and there's your money, right? And if you're going to do anything online, it's going to take a little bit of both. Now, the more time you're willing to put in, especially when it comes to social marketing, the less money you're going to have to invest because you're doing things yourself. But even if you're doing things yourself, you want to invest some money because you want to have a good presence, right? So unless you have a web developer on staff that can do things for you, you probably want to hire a web developer to make sure that Yes, exactly. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's only so much time. I love, one of my friends says, the only true commodity that there is time, which is very, very true. There's only so much of it in a day, and you can never get it back once it's spent. And so, especially when it comes to social marketing, budgeting how much time you have. So one of the chief fears that I hear from people is, oh my gosh, getting on social and marketing through social is going to take so much time. It's just going to suck all the time out. And it can if you let it. And that's why budgeting your time is extremely important. And then learning how to use that time most effectively for what you're aiming for. And then obviously the capital, the actual money capital is part of it as well. So when it comes to your plan, again, you want to make sure that you have an idea of what it is that you're looking to do. So you have a very defined, there we go, a very defined destination in place, what you're aiming to accomplish. You're taking some time to research your audience to find out what is the best route to take, and then you're taking the time to make sure that you understand here's what the budget is, and then as you execute it, staying within that budget. and that's always a challenge in and of itself sometimes as well. So